We are just across the street from the Quicken Loans Arena, where Republicans kicked off their national convention today. Before things got started, our good friend and colleague, Albert Hunt, hosted a breakfast event for Bloomberg Politics featuring Trump campaign manager Paul Manafort and a who's who of national political reporters. At the table were NBC's Andrea Mitchell, ABC's Jonathan Karl, and the Washington Post's Karen Tumblety, as well as Jonathan Martin of the New York Times. We're going to go through some highlights of that conversation with Paul Manafort, starting with what Trump's campaign manager said about the plans at the convention to introduce some of Trump's lesser-known traits to the American public.
It's an important convention. People need to see all aspects of Donald Trump, not just the parts they've seen.
When you say other parts of his personality, what are the traits?
Everybody knows about his business career, but nobody even knows what that means other than Trump Tower.
You said personality, not accomplishments and personality. What are the personality traits?
Oh, well, it's just his generosity, his caring about people, his focus on little things that he sees and how he tries to fix people's lives. I mean, one of the stories that been reported in the past was one of the young kids who was dying of some disease. I don't remember the disease. He saw it in the newspaper, and it was a Michael Jackson fan. And so Donald Trump called Michael Jackson and said, let's go visit this person. Flew him out on the jet to Ohio or wherever the kid was and made an impromptu visit. No publicity, nothing else. But that's the kind of guy he is. I mean, and this was not somebody he knew. This was not some celebrity. But that's the kind of person he is. That's what he does with his employees. That's what he does with the newspapers. If you're going to want to fix a problem for yourself, and you're not the people around this table, have a story written for you in the New York Times, because he reads those things and it gets to me emotionally. He's really a soft-hearted person. Parts of those stories are going to be told. People will see different parts of it.
All right, so Mark. There's the private Donald Trump. You've seen some of it. Others have seen parts of it. Manafort says we're going to get to see it on display at some extent at this convention. How much does he have to do to counteract the perception of even Republicans who we respect, people like Pete Wehner, who write that he's cruel, dismissive, divisive, all of his public persona that people see as negative? What does he have to do to fix that? How much?
I think there's some people, like Pete Wehner would be a great example. I don't think Trump could do anything to win Pete over. But I think for some voters and even some Republicans paying close attention, I think if he shows, again, I think you hit on the right word. It's that notion that he's cruel. The notion that he is a bad person. I think he needs to show people that he's a good person, not just through. I think it's less about a recitation of charitable giving.
Totally.
I think those stories will be counteracted by some of the stuff. It's more stylistic. It's more, it is said, and I have seen it as others have, that he has a close relationship with his children that is loving and nurturing. I think they need to put that right on the stage.
We have seen these ads the Clinton campaign has run that have been effective. The ads with Trump abusing people, dismissing people, mocking people.
Although Manafort says they're not effective because they haven't affected the battleground state numbers. But I'm
saying they're stylistically effective. They make an illustrative point that has that play to some people's perceptions of Trump. And I'm just agreeing with you. I think recitations of charitable giving will do nothing. Like that Michael Jackson story, who cares? Yeah. It's all about, can Trump somehow to give somebody a different side of him than what we've seen in those worst images of him.
Yeah. All right, there are thousands of Republicans here in this town for the convention this week. But some key anti-Trump figures in the party are, of course, MIA. Those include members of the Bush family, former GOP nominees for president John McCain and Mitt Romney, and, of course, John Kasich. He's the home state governor of Ohio. He's in Cleveland all week, but he has vowed not to step foot inside the Quicken Loans Arena unless Trump fundamentally changes his ways. Don't hold your breath for that, at least not good enough for Kasich. Here's what Manafort said this morning at our breakfast when asked if Governor Kasich's absence this week would be harmful to Trump.
John Kasich is being petulant. He's being driven by John Weaver to just sit out there as an outlier, and he's embarrassing his party. He's embarrassing his party in Ohio. And he's violating his pledge, all just because he finished third by not having, but still didn't have any delegates. And we reached out to him. Donald Trump said, look, we were opponents. I'm willing to work together. And the negotiations broke down because John Weaver thinks that John Kasich will have a better chance being president by not supporting Donald Trump. Well, guess what? Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And that's a dumb thing. I mean, how is it not going to hurt us? We said, okay, you don't want to be with us? We'll take care of the party in Ohio. You want to hurt the party now? We're going to work with Rob Portman. We're going to make sure Rob Portman gets reelected, and we're going to win Ohio.
There is no backing off on either side.
No.
John Weaver, Kasich's political advisor, went right at Manafort on a personal basis.
Yeah.
What is in it for Manafort to go after Kasich and Kasich's team to go after Manafort and Trump? Why is that in their interest?
Well, I like it. I got to say, I find it more genuine than the Pence pick, where I want party unity. Look, Trump for all along has basically said, I don't care about party unity. I'm rebuilding the Republican Party in my own image.
I can win without you.
I can win without you. If you don't want to be with me, screw you. And that seems to be Manafort's attitude towards Kasich. And his political analysis also is, I think that Kasich has genuine, profound problems with Trump. Yeah. He also, I think, wants to be president in 2020 and is making a political calculation.
Manafort said what the Trump people have said in the past, which is they're working with Rob Portman, the Republican senator running for re-election. Yeah. They're working with the state party. They don't need Kasich's operation. Kasich's been elected governor of the state twice. He beat Trump in the primary here. It seems like they'd like to have him on board. But Kasich's made it clear to people he's just not interested in supporting Trump.
You going to see Rob Portman running alongside Donald Trump in this election? In this
not
midterm?
Impossible.
Okay, we'll see. I'll be interested. But watch. Finally, Mark Halperin, that man right there, he asked Paul Manafort to weigh in on the efforts that Hillary Clinton and her allies are engaging in to brand Trump in a negative way ahead of November.
Besides running negative ads against Donald Trump, how do you see their strategy to try to win this election?
Well, I hope they keep running that negative ads because I like the impact they're having and spending a lot of money. I mean, I don't think this election is about Hillary Clinton. I think this election is about Donald Trump. I think the last 2 months have proven that Hillary Clinton is being discounted by the American people. This is an election about change. Change. That ultimately, whether it's in the black community, the white community, the Hispanic community, all of them are going through their own issues and crises for whatever reason. And we have a candidate who everybody recognizes is a change candidate. When we're running against the epitome of establishment. I mean, you tell me any candidate, I couldn't pick one off the shelf better than Hillary Clinton to run against on a change versus establishment.
So, what do you think about that? That was his answer to you. What were you thinking?
Well, he referred several times during the breakfast to their own polling, their own research, and suggested that states like Oregon are potentially in play, Connecticut, and that Clinton's ads haven't hurt them. And that's his big defense of why they haven't gone on TV. The public polling is not quite as emphatic as that. But I think there's no doubt that Clinton is a more familiar political figure than Trump is. And when he says, I want this election to be about Trump, that's a little bit counterintuitive. Yeah. But he's suggesting if Trump can just prove to people that he's acceptable, game, set, match. I don't know if it's right, but that seems to be their theory of the case.
Yeah, look, I got to say, I believe Donald Trump could win this election. But if 3 months from now, if Donald Trump, if Oregon and Connecticut are in play, Donald Trump's not going to win. He's going to win the thing easily, and I don't believe that's going to ever happen. I think Donald Trump could win, but he's not going to win a landslide, and only a landslide would make those two states in play for him.
Right. I will say, Manafort says that he thinks they can win easily. He doesn't agree with you.
Yes.
His view that the Clinton attacks.
He may be the only person in America
his view
who
that
thinks
the Clinton attacks aren't hurting are interesting. We'll see what happens. All right.